games.
So mini consoles. Actually, I guess the Game Gear is more of a micro console. But what are your thoughts on Sega's mini consoles, Welch?
I love them. I think they're totally awesome. I feel like me being a Sega fan, they are a iconic figure of Sega re-releasing their brand of games without the need to go and do like some store download. All in one bundle. I like the fact that it's in a little micro console that makes you feel like it's, the real thing.
Yeah, it has the look and not only of the console but of the controller itself. And it's got a bunch of games on it that you can play. Yes, you can do Raspberry Pi and Mister and all this other stuff, but if you want to be able to say it's authentic emulation and completely legal, you don't have to worry about any gray areas with emulation. Then you've got to go with the official stuff, which I was surprised to see the Genesis Mini 2. I kind of thought that the mini console craze had died, but it's still available. You can get it on Amazon. It ships from Japan, but it's great that we got a second one, because a lot of the games that Sega has put out repeatedly over time, a lot of those appeared on the Mini 1, on the original Mini, and so the selection was more varied, I think, on the Mini 2, because it also included some Sega CD games, which was not available on the original one. And depending on the region you got, like you got a Mega Drive Mini 2, there were some games on there that weren't on the US Mini 2.
Yeah, and looking at that, I mean, most of the games are the same. There's just a few.
There's a few that are different. But I mean, you've got the Sonics on the original one, but then you've got Shining Force, the original one, on the one, but then you get Shining in the Darkness and Shining Force 2, which are both great RPGs. Love the dungeon crawling in Shining in the Darkness. It's one of my favorite games. But okay, so we've got those. You got that. You've got an Astro City Mini. I've got the Game Gear micros that they came out with that aren't really all that playable because of how small they are. Even if you get the wide gear, there's only 4 games on those.
And which one of those do you have? Because they did more than one of those too.
I've got all 4 of them.
Oh, nice, dude! I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, they were on eBay, and I got all 4 of them for like the price of 2. So.
Whoa, dude, that's impressive, man.
Because with the little wide gear, so I got the wide gear, so I can put on it, and you can hack them, and you can put a bunch of games on it. Not nearly as many as you can on on these because the memory is a little bit more limited for something that big. But I think they're great. I think because they are an easy entry level for anyone who wants to just like, oh hey, yeah, I had some of that stuff when I was a kid. I don't want to have to go hunt down original hardware or the games, especially with the prices. Because I know Shining Force, the original one on the Genesis, is expensive, and Shining Force 2 is. Shining in the Darkness isn't nearly as popular, probably because it's a dungeon crawler. But, Phantasy Star and even some of the Sonic games can get a little costly if you want to complete in box. And the selection is just, it's a nice variety of stuff between them. But so we've got Genesis Mini, we've got the Mini 2, we've got Astro City Arcade, we've got the Micro Game Gears. What would be the next Mini you would want to see Sega put out?
I think it's darn near time that Sega releases the Master System collection.
I like what I'm hearing.
Yeah, they need to make that happen because I mean, you figure about the timing of the Master System, the overlooking of the Master System, the under appreciation of the Master System is due to the dominance of the Nintendo market.
Yep.
So I definitely feel that needs to happen, and then there's just no reason they couldn't do another Genesis one with more of the Sega CD.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like, I'm pretty sure that they could just release stuff from all of the 8 and 16-bit on one mini, and I would be fine with that. And if they gave the option, okay, well, you can have this shell, you have a Master System shell, you can have a Game Gear shell, you can have a Genesis shell. I have different models of those. It seems like there's a lot of possibilities, especially in the Master System, because it's not as well known, but there was a lot of good games that Sega released for it. And since they were so insistent on making the games and publishing the games themselves for the most part, there's a lot of stuff that, it just, I don't think would be that difficult with licensing. I mean, some of the Disney stuff and whatnot would be difficult could be difficult to get, but I think it would be doable.
Yeah. And the licensing thing that showed with the, the Mini 2s, the Japanese versions have Lunar. Those are big.
Yeah,
I feel like Sega should have took the time to acquire that for the U.S. market.
Alien soldier.
but I don't think they did. They didn't do a translation for it, and so there was some issues with that or something. Or I think they tried to, but there was some issue that came up, and they couldn't get it because the original IP owner wanted more money or something.
Yeah.
But the size of the Master System games, and because we're coming up, we're not far from the 40th anniversary because it was released in 85
in the U.S.
6 in the U.S. I'm not sure which, but that's not that far away, and so they could have a couple of years to get it together and announce it and be like, oh hey, we're gonna have. I mean, just do a quick rundown of some games. Action Fighter. I'm pretty sure they own the rights to that. Aerial Assault, Afterburner. If they could get light gun games to work on it and the 3D games, that would be awesome. But we won't include any of those. But the 4 Alex Kidd games, High Tech World, Miracle World, Shinobi, Lost Stars, those would all be great and should be pretty easy to get on there. Alien Storm, Alien Syndrome, Altered Beast, Assault City, Astro Warrior, Aztec Adventure. I mean, one I'd like to see, but they'd have to do some licensing, would be Batman Returns. That was a really fun game. I had a lot of fun with it, enjoyed it. But Black Belt they could probably do because they stripped out the Mark III Hakoda no Ken licensing, so no Fist of the North Star, so that one would probably be pretty easy to get out there. Bomber Raid, Captain Silver, Choplifter. The series of Illusion games would be awesome if they could get Disney on board, and then then that would also open up Lucky Dime Caper and the Deep Duck Trouble. So
yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot.
Star.
Yeah, Phantasy Star. There's Dragon Crystal, which is like Fatal Labyrinth on the Genesis, but in my opinion, even better. The Fantasy Zone games, Enduro Racer. They could even put on the Champion sports titles from the SG-1000, and then the great sports games from the Master System, just so that they're included. They're not great, but there's something. But Golden Axe and Golden Axe Warrior. I mean, Golden Axe Warrior goes for a crazy price these days. Hopefully, it wouldn't be difficult to get Govalia's Valley of Doom. But yeah, there's a lot of games. They could easily get 80, 100 games on it, and probably have little to no licensing that they would have to work through. And then if they added in SG-1000 stuff, it would, there wasn't a ton of games released for that. There was only like 60 something and 80 something for the Mark III, and most of those came over. But bring over the paddle controller, that little twist knob, and so you could get Alex Kidd BMX, Megumi Rescue, and there was a couple others that required
Woody Pop.
Woody Pop.
Yep.
Which that one had a Game Gear conversion. Obviously, didn't require you to use the paddle.
Well, remember I was telling you about the Master System. Remember the flyers?
Mm-hmm.
Woody Pop was supposed to come out on U.S. Master System.
Never did. Yep. Sadly, it just never got the attention and love it needed, and the NES kind of had the U.S. market in a stranglehold. So,
it's a really good game too. That would work if they wanted to even do an overseas version or make it so you could play the overseas versions of games or their variants, put them all in one, and you'd get that Dynamite Joe game, and then get
Comical Machine Gun Joe.
Yep, that game's awesome, dude.
It's a lot of fun. I haven't made it far in it, but it is a lot of fun.
And then Pit Pot US.
Pit Pot would be good. And you've got the Zillion and the Wonder Boy games. So those would be good ones to bring over. Dude, Streets of Rage and Streets of Rage 2.
Those are good. Those are really good ports.
Lots of, 4? Was there 4 Sonic games released for the Master System? Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Chaos, Spinball, and then I guess you can include Tails. So, yeah, they could easily come up with a bunch of games.
Yeah. Triple Trouble. I mean, they could even
Yeah.
throw some Game Gear on there as a bonus.
Yeah, Sonic Labyrinth.
Drift. Yeah, they need to do a better option with the Game Gear too. I mean, they could almost bundle that in there because they're just about the same.
Oh yeah, it would be awesome. It's like, all right, you can get it in a portable form factor, and it's gonna cost a little more because it has a screen and everything. But just make it, not even make it a mini, just make it, all right, here's a normal size Game Gear, upgraded. Or you can buy the console version of a Master System, and
Yeah.
they could share the exact same library, you know, and it would improve things a little bit because the pause button could be on the unit itself.
Yeah.
For the Game Gear one, and then on the controller they can still include a non-functional pause button on the Master System version, but actually put one on the controller.
With the modern iteration of it, I mean, you just have the pause right on the controller.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I mean. Have a non-functional one for the look on the console, but then have a controller that actually has a start button on it.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's a lot that can be done with the Master System. Master System, I think, is one of the best looking consoles. It has just really nice lines and looks good, and the black and red really pop. And I mean, come on, it tells you what you need to do so that you can actually use the console. It's like you hook it up to the TV, and then let me see, I got one right here. So if you don't know what to do, you just follow the handy dandy diagram on the console. You've got your cartridge goes right here, or a card goes right here. You turn the power on, and then you have your controllers, and you hook it up to the TV. I mean,
yep, the flow chart.
Cool is that? It's so pretty, but look at it; it's so nice. Mine's a little dusty, but I mean, there's no console that looks like that.
Yeah, I got mine out right now for the Sega Cruise stream this weekend. Rambo, yeah, I'm going to play it on original hardware.
I'm going to be playing Rocky.
Yeah, me and you were playing the Stallone brothers.
The Stallone block. That's going to be fun. I'm hoping I actually beat Rocky, and then either I'll start it again and use the sports pad. So if it comes out with a mini, I want to be able to use this thing with it.
Oh man.
I like the sports pad. It's not a popular controller, but I think it's a lot of fun.